Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the Crow here, back with another video. So, I got a request in the comments by a subscriber and a good friend of mine, MythDivine. You guys should go check out his channel. The channel link will be in the description. He wanted me to do a solo setup video. So, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I solo. So, of course I'm Balance, which is kind of an easy school to solo on. So is my Ice. Storm is debatable. I know that Michael Stormwraith does, do solos, of course. He's like the biggest soloer out there for Wizard101. But I don't know, like, it's kind of complicated. But what you pretty much want to go for with soloing is you want damage, resist, critical block, power pip, and heal boost. Power pip is not as important, but it really does help, and it's kind of annoying when you have pip failure. So basically what I do is, for Balance, keep in mind this is just Balance, but pretty much for any school, I would go, if you're at level 90 and up, I would go with the Waterworks upgrade set that Hades drops. So I go with the Hades Helm of Justice, the Hades Raiment of Justice, and then, of course, for the boots, I choose high block boots. Sometimes I'll go with the boots of the other lizard, and sometimes I'll go with the Trader's Heart Winter boots. So for the wands, of course, like I said, for heal boost, sometimes I'll go with the Misty Mountain Mandolin. Sometimes I'll go with the Mandolin of Evermore. Sometimes I'll go with the Silver Order of the Spiral. Yeah, so honestly, it really doesn't matter with the wand. Just get one with higher block, and then you guys should be set. Lately, I've been using the Teeth of the Lords of Night just because, and I know it doesn't give heal boost, but it does give a lot of block, and so, like, for sure, the bosses can't critical on me. For the Athame, I use the Blade of the Felled Titan. For the ring, I use the Alpha and Omega ring, which is a really good combo, of course. Occasionally for the ring, I would definitely use the Blade of the Felled Titan for level 90 plus, no matter what school you are. But for the ring, you can go with kind of a higher heal boost ring if you want, like the Ring of the Dying Star or something like that. But for the most part, if you're going for damage, like I do, you want to go with the Alpha and Omega ring and the Blade of the Felled Titan. The Alpha and Omega ring also gives amazing block for being a ring. For the pet, I use Taz, of course, just because he gives that double damage, double resist, and fairy. You definitely want to have at least double resist and a heal spell. That's what I recommend. Having a blade card is also nice. Like I was trying to transfer the stats over that, of course, it failed me at Ancient. But definitely having a blade of your school like card, and the pet doesn't really matter, but it kind of does help to have something like that. So for the amulet, I of course use the Life Mastery amulet. You don't have to. You can use one with like a high health or something like that. But the Life Mastery really does help for any school because of Satyr. Satyr is a really awesome spell, and I would suggest training it no matter what school you are. Whether you're Fire or Myth or Life, of course, has to train it. Balance, Storm, anything like that. I think any school should train Satyr just to have it for when you need it, because you're gonna need it, trust me. So that's pretty much it, I guess, for the setup in terms of the gear. So going over to the deck. The first thing you want to start with is Reshuffle. Everyone can train Reshuffle from that lady in that secret area over on Colossus Boulevard. And it is a really nice spell to have. It's level 20 up. Of course, Balances get it for free. Yeah, everyone should have it. For the going over to the enchants, what I usually like to do is I like to put in 6 Colossal, 2 Gargantuan, no more than 4 Gargantuan. You can have more. I guess you can if you want, but I wouldn't suggest it. 3 Sharpened Blades and 3 Potent Traps. So that's what you want to get for the enchants. For the star spells, you want to have no more than 5 Conviction, but I would put in 4 Conviction at least if you wanted to. But the Conviction is a really nice spell if you don't have a whole lot of block, and if you just want, to kind of get that stun resist in there when you're going against like a Myth boss or an Ice boss or something like that. That is really nice to have that stun block. And then you want to have some type of star spell to increase your damage in some way, such as infallible, punishment, of course, for balance. You get the other star spells at level like 84. But yeah, get that for your school, because those are really nice. You want to have about 4 of those in. You can have 3, but no less than 3. And so onto the heals. The heals are next. So you want to have about 4 pixies. I think no matter what school you are, whether you're ice, balance, storm, anything, you always want to have at least 4 pixies in your deck. For the mass heal, you want to have 5 satyrs. I would go with 5 satyrs, because satyr is a heal that you're going to need a lot. Even on my ice, I do need satyr quite a bit, as you guys have seen. If you're balanced, you can alternatively go with Availing Hands, but Availing Hands is awesome and you can critical on it. I mean, even I have a pretty nice chance of critically on it. But at the same time, if you're like in a really bad position and you need just a heal boost up, this does about 1200 even with this crappy heal boost right here. This isn't a whole lot of heal boost. It does like 1200. So Satyr is a really nice spell. You definitely want to have it. So for the attacks, I guess would be next. You want to have a primary attack, which I would suggest having kind of something really hard hitting like Sabretooth, but something like a single hit. Like if your fire, go with Ifrit. If your death, go with Von Monster. If your life, go with I guess gnomes. I guess that would be it. Yeah. And then you want to have a secondary hit, which you could either choose like for balance, could be Judgment, could be Savage Paw or Lore Master or Samurai or something like that. Just a secondary hit, or King Artorias. Sometimes I'll do. But just kind of just to put on some extra damage where it is needed. And then you want to put in 5 feints. I would do no less than 4 feints, but 5 feints is what I do, just because feint is an amazing spell. You put a feint on, just a feint, and then a Sabretooth. If you're balanced, with my damage, it does like 5,000, just that. So it's really awesome. And then the shields, you can just put in kind of whatever you want. Doesn't really matter, but that's pretty much all you do there. Oh yeah, the one last thing I guess I should say is the blades. So you want to have about 5, maybe 4 primary blades. I would go with 5, honestly. And then you want to have 4 of your secondary blades. If you're storm, it'd be your storm blade. If you're fire, it'd be your fire blade, etc., etc. And then your secondary blade would be like elemental blade if you're an elemental school, and spirit blade if you're a spirit school. And so that's what I would suggest. So that is the basic, like just your basic boss solo deck setup. And then you have enough resist to tank, enough damage to hit, etc., etc. Your goal basically is to first take out the minion, which usually, like if you're balanced, a feint and a Sabretooth will do. That'll just take out any basic minion. And then pretty much what I do is I just blade stack it up. I put on a sharpened balance blade, a sharpened blade storm, a regular blade storm, a regular balance blade, a potent feint, and a regular feint, and it hits like 28,000. So that's pretty much what you want to do. Alternatively, you can add in like Shadow Strike if you need to. You can play around with the deck too. Like you maybe not need so many Sabretooths, or you might not need so many enchants, etc., etc. You can just kind of play around with it. But this is my basic solo setup. You want to basically you need to get your heals in there, your defenses, your enchants, and then your boosts essentially, and then your attacks. That's what you want. So now that we have done that on Crow, I'll go show you kind of on Winter Flame the same setup, and show you that it works pretty much with any school, the same idea. So on Winter Flame, of course, I have the Frostbite Hood for the damage. I've got the Woodland Tribal Coat. Occasionally I'll go with this, depending. I still haven't gotten my Frostbite Cape. I might get it in the future, even though I don't really need it. I just kind of want it on hand. But for now, I use the Woodland Tribal Coat just universally. I still have good damage to the other schools. Oh, or good resist, I guess. Hold up. Let me go get my other pet real quick, just to give you kind of an idea of what this is like. It's on my balance. I was working on hatching and stuff. Let's see here. Go to my house. Put on, yeah, Samson. Going over here, you're gonna put on Samson, and then I'll show you guys kind of what's going on here. Not bad. Let's see. Okay, so basic setup, basic idea. You got 49 resist here, 62 resist to storm and fire, which is pretty good. The accuracy is really awesome for ice. Accuracy is also kind of an important thing for the elemental schools and the and for myth as well. The schools that just kind of have lower accuracy, you definitely want that. But power pip is also important because you don't get a lot with your gear. I've got 71, which is basic. I got a pretty nice heal boost, 34 and 47. A satyr does about 1600 on me, and a fairy does almost 800, which is pretty nice. I do have a triple damage pet, of course, which does help with the damage. Because if I didn't have that, I'd be down at like 30% damage, which would really suck. But I'm up at about 60. What I use for my gear is I use the frostbite hood, as you saw just now. The woodland tribal coat, the frostbite or the frost. My bad. I did use the frostbite boots, but the frost shrine slippers. I use the Mandolin of Evermore, as I showed you on Crow, but I have the level 80 on Winterflame. You can use something like this, or but I would go with something with high block around this level. I guess some ices use a Sword of Kings, so they can't get the Mandolin of Evermore. I use the Lexicon Blade. Alternatively, sometimes I'll use the Courtly Dirk just because the heal boost is actually a lot more. With this, Satyr does like 1800. I'll use Life Mastery, of course. Yes, I do have 2 Life Masteries. And then I'll use the Stellar Signet on this guy, which is really awesome. You guys can alternatively use at this level I guess some people use the Triskelion band, but the Ariat band from the Tower of the Elephant, you get it the same as same place where you get the Lexicon Blade. It's kind of a ring, kind of like a I don't know what I would call it. A downgrade from the Alpha and Omega ring. It gives like 5% damage, 15 critical blocks, so it's pretty much like the Alpha and Omega ring, just all the stats are kind of like cut in half, pretty much. But I use the Stellar Signet just because the heal boost is really good. Of course, for the pet, I use the triple damage, double resist. For the deck, of course, it's a level boss deck. Yeah, basically, you can see in here, I've got the bubbles, for the damage. Of course, I don't have Sharpened Blade yet. I've got pretty much the same exact setup. The 5 feints, 5 ice blades, 4, secondary blades. I've got 6 woolly mammoths, which would be my saber tooth, and then 4 of these, which would be my judgment, and then the shields and the other defenses. So it's pretty much the same basic setup for any school. Like if you're fire, I would go with like Ifrit for this, etc. Myth would be Medusa. But like I said, you just want to go with high resist, high heal boost. You don't want to go like super high resist. I know some people like to solo like Tartarus and stuff with Jade gear. Honestly, I wouldn't do that. It takes a lot longer than you need, and you can just heal off pretty much anything. I don't know. It just doesn't necessarily appeal to me, like super high resist. But you want to have pretty high resist, pretty high damage, okay accuracy, and pretty high block. Critical doesn't really matter because, honestly, if you're going full out crit, no block, and no resist, you're going to die in soloing. So don't try to do that, honestly. I mean, unless you plan on healing like a billion times. But you're going to most likely die, honestly. And then, you know, and of course, you know, you're not going to crit on bosses that much either. They literally got like 300 block. I'm not even joking. You think I'm joking? You go like to Hades and stuff. I mean, I know that, you know, a lot of people crit on Hades a few times, but you know, you're not gonna crit on them a whole lot. But that's basically the basic setup. Just, you know, want to go kind of more defensive, but definitely have that damage in there as well, because damage is really important when soloing. You want to be able to let out as much damage as possible. Like me with a faint and enchanted mammoth, it does like 3,000, not nearly as much as my saber-tooth does on my balance, but it's still not bad. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. If there is anything else you guys want me to show, like, I don't know, I've already shown off my pets and stuff. I guess I could show you guys that some other time. Again, yeah, but, yeah, thank you. I guess that is it for now. More solos, more PvPs to come from yeah, Alex Winterflame and Alex Crow. And, yeah, see you guys later. This is the Crow, signing off.